Guys, what the fuck is up? Just found a random mock. Looks like a 10 team, 13 round draft. I'm picking at the 10th spot. These are real people. These aren't AFK NPCs. So we're going to see how it goes. I mean, 10 team leagues, not too many people run 10 teams. But I know there are a few. I know there are some people, especially people in like home leagues and stuff, they'll run 10 team. So see how it goes. I mean, it's always a good idea to look at the roster settings. Obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a mock, so you can draft however you feel like drafting. But everyone else is going to be drafting based on specific rules, so just follow them. Obviously, all right, it's my pick. Now I get to the 110. I don't know if it's PPR or not. Yeah, it is PPR full point. So smash. I'm gonna go ahead and see going wide receiver heavy how that works out. So I'm gonna go Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb just to see what happens. Could have went Saquon there, like Diggs and Saquon, or even CD and Saquon. It really just depends who you like more. I mean, I'm just a little bit more. I just have a little more faith in. I have a little more faith in Josh Allen, obviously, above Dak. I mean, I don't think that's blasphemous or crazy to even say. So, um, generally the strategy in PPR, you probably want to go wide receiver. Uh, you want to go wide receiver, and you want to basically draft in tiers, right? So you have like the top six, top seven wide receivers. Then you have like the top one running back, and then you have the second tier of running backs, which is like Eckler, Bijan, Nick Chubb, Saquon, Taylor. So to me, CMC is all in his own. That in a full point PPR um, league, I would take CMC and maybe Eckler, but those are the only two running backs I'll take in the first round. Basically, I'll take those first six wide receivers above any of them. So it's Jefferson, Chase, Tyreek, Cup, AJ, Diggs, and Lamb. That's like my tier one of wide receivers. I mean, within that, there's a tier one, right? There's Jefferson, Chase, Tyreek, and Cooper are like tier one, and then you have AJ, Diggs, CD. That's fucking confusing. I feel like I just just blasted you guys with a super confusing breakdown. It's tiered, right? It's tiered. All right, let's look at some of these other picks. So, team one, Jefferson, Waddle, Pollard. That's a strong start. I think I would have went with Henry instead of Pollard there. And the reason for that is this: you have two high reception wide receivers. You don't need to take a receiving running back there, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. There, you can get a guy like Henry. I know you're not going to get the receptions out of him, but I do think he's going to outscore Pollard even in PPR. So just go with the safer guy who has like a high ceiling. But there are also concerns with Henry. He's getting a little bit older. He's got a lot of mileage, a lot of yardage on that engine. So maybe Pollard was the play. I don't know. Would have went with somebody a little more solidified. You just haven't seen Pollard as the lead guy. Like you take as your RB1, you're taking a guy who we just have not seen as an RB1. So I could be fully wrong. I fucking love Pollard as a player, but I've only seen him as like a change of pace back. All right, let's check it out. I'm glancing at the board to see who falls to me. If Travis Etienne falls to me, that is fucking big time. Travis Etienne has all the metrics of a league-winning running back. I'll post those on Twitter or something, like what those metrics are. But yeah, I'm going to go with Etienne, and then I'm going to smash DK Metcalf. I mean, what the hell, man? Look at this start. Diggs, Lamb, Metcalf at my wide receiver in full point PPR with Etienne as my RB1. Baby. Smash. Fucking pour the Gatorade on me already, coach. Pour the mock draft championship Gatorade on me. um, Gibbs could have been interesting there too. Like if I wanted to solidify my RB a little more, I could have went with ETN Gibbs or ETN Jones. But that's about it. I don't think I would take Kenneth Walker. I don't think. Oh, Mixon. Mixon would be a good pick in the end of the fourth round. Like wherever this guy just got Mixon, that's strong. That's a strong pick. But beginning of the fourth, I don't know. But I predict Mixon shooting up boards between now and the start of the season. It's just he's an RB1. He's an RB1 on probably a top 3 offense going into the season. Like they should be top 3, right? The the Bengalis. All right. Let's look at some other rosters. Any other roster looks strong? Obviously, that team that just got Mixon looks pretty strong. Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Olave. That is that's comparable to my 3 wide receivers. Obviously, Tyreek is probably going to outscore any of my guys, but I do think CD and Metcalf outscore his other 2 guys. Garrett Wilson easily could outscore Lamb. He's got Rodgers. Rodgers tends to fall in love with receivers. We just hope he falls in love with Garrett Wilson, right? Everybody's expecting that to happen, but he did bring the graveyard of old wide receivers with him. Not old, but Randall Cobb's old. Alan Lazar, he's just a guy. He's a jag. All right. Looking at the board to think ahead because we don't have a lot of time on our picks. J.K. Dobbins would have been interesting for me there. I see a couple of very interesting names. I'm probably going to go with another wide receiver and maybe a running back if somebody falls to me. Basically, there's like 2 running backs that I would take here at this pick, and it's Miles Sanders and Dalvin. Oh man, maybe Dalvin. No, it looks like he's going to the Patriots. I don't know if I'd take Dalvin anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miles Sanders, and at wide receiver, I have a good balance of youth and veterans. I can get somebody who's either a veteran or another young player. This is a tough one. I hate Terry McLaurin usually. Not hate, I just don't usually draft him. They don't have a quarterback. Go Drake London. The reason I went Drake London above Scary Terry, so Terry McLaurin has a like bona fide wide receiver 2 that will compete with him for targets, and the highest drafted tight end ever, and one of the highest drafted running backs we've seen in a while with Bijan. I'm dumb. I just mixed up both guys. Terry McLaurin has Jahan Dotson, a bona fide wide receiver 2, to compete with him for targets, who I think might be better than him. Just as a prospect, damn, that's going to be so fucking blasphemous. People are going to contend with that a lot. Jahan Dotson just did so much with the opportunity he got last season. Like, imagine if his volume goes up. I don't know. He just looked great. He looked so fast. He looked like experienced for his age. And Terry McLaurin, it's just like, I'm tired of him, dude. I've seen it now for multiple seasons. He's been good. 1K seasons, most seasons, but I don't know. And the reason I took Drake London, he had one of the better rookie seasons we've seen in a while. The Falcons' wide receiver core has really nobody after Drake London. They have a lot of other talented offensive weapons like Kyle Pitts, like Bijan Robinson, but to me, that feels more like a balanced wide receiver core, a balanced offense, where Drake London should be like the clear leader in that stable. That's the only reason. Terry McLaurin might have less competition all around the field, but those are my thoughts. And then, you have like Judy, where that could have been a strong pick too. It's just Russ looked pretty cooked. Christian Watson could have been super interesting there too, but it's just the unknown of not knowing how Jordan Love's going to be playing. It's like, I like him more in Dynasty, just because you can then like see how he does. You could trade him if you need to. Those are my thoughts. Basically, in mocks, I like to usually punt QB. In real drafts, I'm always like 11 beers deep and a couple margaritas, and I'll be like, motherfucking Josh Allen, baby, 3rd round, 2nd round. Like, I'll just pull the trigger, right? So I try to keep it, realistic in mocks, but it never pans out that way. I end up doing exactly what I don't want to do in live drafts. We're going to Vegas this year for our live draft. There's going to be like 15 of us in an Airbnb, a mansion Airbnb in Vegas. It's going to be fucking so dope. Can't wait. It's kind of slow, right? It's grueling. Although I did take the full time on my picks, so I can't really talk. I do want to get a piece of that Jaguars offense. So if Christian Kirk falls to me, that will be a smash pick. And he did, so I'll smash him. And see if I can fill out my running back stable a little more. James Cook is a potential dude here. So is Pacheco. Do I have anyone from the Chiefs? I do not. I'll get some exposure to the Chiefs because I already have Stephon Diggs. James Cook and Diggs is not really a stack that I really would love to have. So, how's the team looking? ETN, Sanders is my 2 running backs. Diggs, Lamb, Metcalf, Drake, London, Christian. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, I know how most people view mocks. It's like, let me just get the best starting lineup I can get so I can fucking tweet it, but depth matters, man. I tried to draft in mocks the way I would like to draft in live drafts. So like that includes getting depth, right? So like Christian Kirk's gonna be on the bench most weeks, or Drake London, one of those two might be on the bench, but he's a valuable piece that you can always parlay, trade. You can do 2-for-1 trades to move up. So I can imagine myself in the future doing like DK and Kirk for a fucking chase or something, right? Or like DK, Kirk, and an RB3 for like Chase plus an RB2, or like Dalvin or something. Like making those 2-for-1s to move up the tiers is like something that I would try to do eventually, right? So having great players, even if you have too many of that position already, is just a good idea in general. So guys that I would not be picking, I'm going to try to list them quickly. I'm probably going to stay away from Debo, especially in PPR. I'm probably going to stay away from Ayuk. Like just the Niners receivers in general, I'd stay away from in PPR just because passing volume, right? And at their cost, it's just like I like Kirk a little more. I wouldn't take Tyler Lockett. I just posted a video recently about why I won't take Tyler Lockett this season. At 8th round is not as bad. I might like consider him, but maybe like the end of the 8th at like the 9 turn is when I would consider like a Lockett. But I probably wouldn't take Burks anymore now that Hopkins is there, which sucks because Burks was a dude that I was targeting in a lot of drafts. But yeah, basically this zone of wide receivers, I don't really like many of them anymore. Like starting from basically Ayuk all the way to Burks. I don't like anyone other than Kirk. And yeah, that's about it. Like I wouldn't take Mike Williams. It's just this is where I would go with like a David Montgomery, right? A fucking James Cook, Javonte Williams. Like this is the range where I would try to skip wide receiver. Try to get your wide receivers earlier in PPR so that in these rounds you're not forced to take in a wide receiver that you might not like. I would have loved Jahan Dotson there, but maybe it's time to start filling out the roster a little more. Pat Fryermuth is another tight end who fits perfectly into the age and like so he's 20, what is he, 25? Again, I'll post this on Twitter. He's 24. That's the range we want. Or that's within the range we want. He's going into his 3rd season. For tight ends, that is like the golden season that where you want to get 30-year tight ends, especially considering the fact that he's already produced his first 2 seasons. It's not like he's been a nobody, then he popped off in the 3rd season. He's been producing, right? So he represents somebody that I think is going to have a pop-off season. I'm going to take him for sure. And then I'm going to look over at quarterback and see if there's anybody cool. We still have the Dak CeeDee Lamb stack, which is quite nice. But let me just quickly see who's still available at skill positions. I'm going to go with Dak just because I have that stack. And I think Dak can be top. I think he could be like top 7, right? Like, tell me what the difference is between Dak and Lawrence. Like they both have similar rushing upside. They both have similar touchdown upside because I think they're both going to be on really good offenses. Now the Jaguars last season were one of the after like the Lions and one other team I think. the Jaguars had like the biggest improvement offensively over season, right? So in 2022, they had one of the biggest improvements after the Lions. So we already kind of saw this massive improvement by Trevor Lawrence. People are expecting like another massive improvement. I don't know, man. I think it's more likely that Dak Prescott just does what he's been doing, which is, I mean, let's look at his season logs. Yeah, it's brutal when you look at last season, but he only played 12 games. But in the games in which he plays 16 full seasons, quarterback 7, quarterback 10, quarterback 14, rough, quarterback 2, quarterback 6, quarterback 8, right? So if he can get a full season in, he's only 29. If he can get a full season in and they continue to have, and he can limit his interceptions, which he said he wants to try to do, and he can rack up a couple more rushing touchdowns. So his rushing touchdowns were strong early in his career, 666, and then 3-3-1-1, and then, or 1 and then 1 last season. That's not what you want out of Dak. I think his injuries have kind of scared him, and he doesn't really want to rush the ball very much, but let's see if he can get back to that. But yeah, just went off on a tangent about Dak. Tua is another sleeper candidate for me at the QB position. He's somebody that I would also like to have as like a later round QB. Like, this is where I'm okay getting a QB, right? If you fully punt it and you're like, I'm going to draft a QB in the fucking, 20th round, like you're punting into the end zone at that point, right? You're getting a touchback. Like, you don't want to punt too long. You don't want to wait too long to get your QB, because then you're getting like you're driving right past all the value. All right, back to my pick. It's gonna be Rashad Bateman. He's like one of the last true wide receiver ones left on the board, I think. I mean, we're expecting him to be a wide receiver one, and then I'm going to take Devon Achane. It looks like Devon Achane is not going to be competing with Dalvin Cook. It looks like it's just going to be Mostert and Jeff Wilson. So I think that's a backfield in which Achane can end up being the dude who beats out the other guys at some point in the season. I still think that they'll use a committee most of the year. Even if Achane were to beat them out and start getting like first team reps, I still think Mostert and Jeff Wilson will have their touches. But Achane, like, if there's an injury, Achane becomes like a league winning guy, right? Like, you need those rookie running back lottery tickets, because those are the guys that end up winning leagues. It's like last season, Kenneth, what the fuck is his name? I just forgot his name. Kenneth Walker. I was going to say Kenneth Wilson. I don't know why. Kenneth Walker became a league winner because Rashad Penny got injured, and whoever happened to buy that lottery ticket for Kenneth Walker ended up profiting, and he became like a bona fide RB1. I think he ended up fucking a lot of people in the playoffs, if I remember. Let's look at that. Did he fuck people? No, he was okay. I mean, yeah, he was okay. 12, 13, 15 points. Yeah, he was really good when he first started coming in. It's 28, 12, 27. He looked real good, real nice. All right, with my last pick, I'll probably go with either another backup RB, like another RB handcuff of some sort. But again, my thoughts on taking RB handcuffs and backup RBs. Get guys that not only are they effective handcuffs, but they will also have some standalone value. Like, and people might disagree with this, but like Elijah Mitchell or Tyler Algier. Those are two guys in which I can imagine them getting like reps right away. They don't need an injury to be to be effective. And those are the guys you want, because then you, like, if you need a spot start, you can always throw in a guy to get you 8 points or something, or 7 points, So here, Devin Singletary is another one of those guys, but maybe a backup QB, considering everybody else is getting QB. That's where I'll take Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray at the end. Let's see. I don't know if he's going to be playing week 1, but when he does play, it looks like you have another QB1, like a top 10 potential QB. So that's the draft, boys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope my analysis was okay. It was a little bit of a rough start there. I was going off on weird tangents and shit, but let me just talk about my team real quick. So Diggs and Lamb as my 110 2-1 turn. I think that's a great start if you can get two bona fide wide receiver ones. Like these guys are almost, you can almost guarantee they're going to be top 12 wide receivers. I can't imagine a world where they're not, right? Come back around, you get Travis Etienne, who I also think should be a top 12 RB, almost bona fide, and Metcalf, who could be a borderline top 12 wide receiver. So I think that's a great start. You then come back around, you get a guy like Sanders, who looks like he's going to have the backfield to himself. I don't imagine them giving any run to any of the guys behind him. I couldn't even name any of them. What, Chuba Hubbard? What's his name? Chuba Hubbard. He's not even on here anymore. Raheem Blackshear. That's not something I'm scared of. And Miles Sanders is good, man. He's a good running back. He's not a jag per se, but he's jaggy. That makes sense. He's not just a guy, but he's just a guy-ish. Drake London and Kirk rounding out my wide receivers, who I both think are like very good wide receiver twos. Like they should be between the ranks of 13 to 25, right? In terms of like where they're going to finish on the season. Pacheco, another RB1 for his team. He could end up splitting work with Clyde Edwards and Jerick McKinnon, who we saw Jerick McKinnon be one of the most valuable pickups last season. They re-signed him. He should be involved again. Pat Freiermuth I already talked about. He's a tight end who is going into his third season, and he's 24, which is exactly what you want. That's like the range of a successful pop-off tight end. Dak Prescott as our QB. I think that's a strong QB pick this late in the 10th round. Rashad Bateman being like one of the last few wide receiver ones. He should be like the alpha on his team. Could easily not be the case. Could be Odell. Could be fucking, what's his name? Flowers. And then A-Chain being a running back lottery ticket. Now, this is only a 13-round mock, so if there were more rounds, I would just keep getting other lottery ticket type players. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like it, please subscribe. I would love to argue with you guys and talk more about fantasy, so catch you guys later.